Yes, graduates, welcome to Hard Talk Podcast with HTK. Fasten your seatbelts.
Hey users and subscribers, welcome back to another episode of Hard Talk with HTK. So, after yesterday's explosive live, several things kicked off across social media. Family members have come out, namely Amecia Lewis, who is the aunt of Adriana, making comments in response to the things that Angie has said. I'm going to read for you this statement, which subsequently caused quite a horrific reaction. Well, a chain reaction, actually. So, in this comment that was made on the TikTok live yesterday, Amecia Lewis said the following: that Amecia and Subrayn were never put out, they left. This woman, like many of you, is looking for attention and fame. In her case, though, she is looking for money too. She wanted to know how much money Rickford Burke made. She wanted to know how much money was collected from everyone, including Alana and Amecia. Lady, that is none of your business, as is the case of many of the things that you are speaking about. Tell the public why you lied unsaid. No wonder she's always complaining that she and none of her family members get along. No wonder she has complained that her own daughter, yes, her biological daughter, spat in her tea and scratched her private parts and put it in her food. This woman is a crazy liar, an attention seeker, and a lunatic. Thankfully, my intuition is never wrong. Something about people, and my sister can testify that long before she met this woman, I told Amecia to be careful with her. I don't even know people, because at this stage it has all become just so draining, because I would have thought that Amecia, as a highly educated woman, would have known how to steer her family right. The issue really is about the exposing of all the private things that have happened in the household, and it is about clearing everybody's name, and the truth has to come out one way or another. But I was hoping that some figure of, leadership, calmness, diplomacy could have settled things down. But instead, you as the aunt, you are incensing the situation by speaking on situations that you are privy to as well. So everybody's the same. Now, after this, we have seen two videos leak on Carlotta's page on TikTok as instructed by Angie. Now, these two videos were CCTV videos of Amecia and Subrayn in domestic disputes. Now, what was distressing about the videos, and I am not going to attach the full videos on my page, but what was distressing about the videos is the fact that all of this was taking place in front of the children. It is clear that there's a lot of aggression from Subrayn towards Amecia, and this was shortly after, or I suspect one of them, yes, it was shortly after the wedding. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm still going to remember that these two are grieving parents, that they must be going through a lot of terrible emotions, roller coaster emotions around the death of Adriana. But like I said in my previous video, the spirit of Adriana will not rest until all corruption is exposed. And even though to us it looks like, oh my God, all this private stuff is leaking, it's so messy, sometimes purging looks like mess. It really does. And it's really a step towards self-reflection, development, change. in order for people to realign with what's important. And it will feel like a very uncomfortable space, both for those looking on and for those observing, as well as for those who are going through the process. But at the end of it, you have to come out as better people. Because if you truly want justice for this child, justice cannot be born out of confusion, nor can it be born out of violence, anger, sneakiness, deception, dishonesty, greed. All of those vices will have to dissipate in order for you to focus on the significant part of your journey, which is to achieve justice for Adriana. The whole country has witnessed a terrible death of a child. And to this day, we still have not seen the case progress to the point where we can see justice at the end of the tunnel. Now, more of that is yet to come, but instead, there is nothing but distraction and confusion, which, as I said, is a part of the process. As much as we don't like to see it, we don't like to witness it. I am saying to the Younge's family, stop coming on social media with all your personal issues. I think a line needs to be drawn. I think at this point, Angie has spoken her truth. You have had suffice moments to speak your truth. And it's just going to become a game of tit for tat, butter for fat if you keep continuing, because people are going to be within their rights to defend their name, yes, against lies and slander. That is a fact. But to what end? As the family starts to unfold before public eyes, you are going to be left to pick up the pieces, and you are going to split your support more and more apart, fragment people who were once 100% in your corner. Sometimes silence is not a loss. I have said this many times. Sometimes silence is not a loss. Sometimes silence allows the noise to go still. Coming up with these pot shots, talking about each other's children, then leading to evidence having to leak to counteract, it will just get messier. Now it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to go down this path. But I am telling you now that justice for Adriana is not going to be achieved at this rate. I noticed that Amecia, in the gear up towards the election day, had posted several photos of Adriana, including one that was not previously released. I am going to be very frank and open about that. I found it distasteful that Adriana's body, in an advanced stage of decomposition, was posted with a vote for win or vote out PPC kind of motif attached to it. At the end of the day, by using that as leverage for political gain, it did not appear to me to be a justice post, but as a propaganda. And to me, that was an insult of the memory of the child because of the timing of the post. Now, had it been posted in the originals, from earlier when everybody was wanting to know what happened and all of that, it could have been regarded as part of the grieving process, part of the cry and the call for action. But to post it when it's time for people to go out to vote was a heavily emotive persuasion that was to bear on the conscience of people, but to swing them not for justice directly, but for voting for the political party of choice by Amecia. I didn't respect the move, I've got to say that. Maybe my opinion is not exactly what took place and that was not in her intention, but I am telling you from an objective perspective how it came across to me. That's my personal opinion. Others may disagree and feel free to do so in the comments. But I would never want my deceased family member, my deceased niece or my child to be remembered like that by the public. We already have a situation where the grandmother is clearly standing with the PPP, and then we have subsequently seen the Youngs come out in defense of Win, while the person who walked Amecia down the aisle, Dr. Todd, stands firmly with Atno. Politics is clearly dividing this family. But is it the time to put out your niece in a decomposed state? It's to me less than tasteful. But like I said, this whole thing has become like a Pandora's box. The more it opens up, the more mess is revealed and the more we see the insides of people's trauma. But I beg and implore the public not to be too judgmental of the parents, because as much as many wrong things have happened and continue to happen, they have indeed lost a child under tragic circumstances. And like I've said, I am friends with nobody. I am not on anybody's one particular side. I'm just looking at things from a truthful and just perspective. And that is the only thing that my conscience will allow me to stand by. And I am saying that you all have to draw a line and stop. Angie has said, I think, more than enough. Please do not challenge her to come out and say or show more. Family members need to be smart and wise. Do you need this distraction at the moment? Is a rebuttal and counteraction necessary now? It is important that you focus on your child and what has happened to her. And if you're even interested, the videos that should be coming should be a cry for any government that takes control to ensure that your daughter receives justice. I am not certain that coming out here to talk about political parties is even something that ought to have been a priority, but you chose to do so. It is quite odd that in the scheme of things, your sister's party is what Amecia is defending, with Subrayn looking like he's in tow. I don't know, because it looked more like it was led by his wife. I don't know. But all I'm saying is that a priority right now? Now, it is my understanding that there is still issues around Mohammed and the United States of America and sanctions. How does that implicate on the outcome of your case and the possibility of the FBI getting involved in independent investigations externally, helping you along for justice if the Win party takes control? Are there any implications there? It's just a question. It would be interesting if somebody could enlighten me as to whether or not this will have an impact. But guys, it's been a long one, and it continues to be a long one where Adriana's case is concerned. We will continue to focus on justice for her. I'd like to say that the interview that took place, and I said it yesterday and I'm going to say it again, the interview that took place between Francis and Haley Comet, it was a very good interview in that they focused on the facts of the case, the key questions that need answering, and they left the mess out of it. That was a very professional and well-handled interview. And while Haley has also gotten herself entangled in all this mess, I cannot pretend as though that interview with Francis was not a fruitful one. The lesson to be learned here is that everybody can slip up, everybody can do silly things when a death of a child is driving your emotions. But the important thing is, how do you bounce back from it? What lessons do you take away? And how do you rescue yourself from the slippery slope of emotionally led reactions and move yourself across to proactivity? Anyway, I'm going to end this quick one with this. Family members, I have always said, keep your family business in the family as much as you can. But where I'm going to now add something is that if you are divided within the household, you cannot stand for anything. Finally, if things are not being handled right around the spirit of Adriana, she will not rest. And rest assured, she will ensure that all is revealed so that she can get her justice and finally rest in peace. This is your girl, Head Teacher K, and I'm out.